Everyone, Chepandis Cheputul Sulle Dukadu. Hope I'm audible to all of you. And if I'm audible, do write it in the comment section that I'm audible. So today is 18th November 2025, and let's start today's discussion. My name is Shubham Sagar. You can connect with me on LinkedIn. Awesome. What else? You can also join this Telegram channel. I will share this into analysis PDF by 9:30 a.m. today. So again, let me just open it. Let me just see whether I'm audible and visible to all of you or not. If I am, like I have just told you, you people can also write in the comment section. So yes, good morning, Vikas. Good morning, Harshini. Just give me a second. By 9:30 a.m. today. So yeah, good morning, Matt King. Good morning, Iltush. Good morning, everyone. Let's start the discussion without wasting any time. So yesterday I gave you people this particular question, which is a PYQ, which has been asked by UPSC in 2022, right? And this was the 10th question of yesterday's session. Saint Kaku Islands, why it is in news? What is the answer, guys? What is the answer? Cool, Vikas. So why Kaku Island is in news? And you have to choose the best option here. What, according to UPSC, is the best option here? What we have discussed yesterday related to Kaku Island. Chepandi is fast, guys. Chepandi is fast. What is the answer? Generally believe that they're artificial islands made by a country around South China Sea. Vikas has given the answer. China and Japan engage in maritime dispute over these islands in the East China Sea. This is the best option. That is what we were discussing yesterday. So Vikas and Harshini, they have given the answer. Cool, yeah. So let's move on to today's agenda and today's article. Let's come back to the present. So first article of the day, page 20, Science 2 GS3, UNESCO's new guideline for use of neurotechnology. Neurotechnology, how our brain cells are working, Neurotechnology refers to devices and procedure that access, assess and act on neural systems, including the brain. So they are assessing our brain. You may have seen these lie detector tests here, there, everywhere. Lie detector tests, how they work. So there are technologies which can gauge how your brain works. There are insurance companies who are working on these neurotechnology, and they will determine how much premium you have to pay on their different packages. So these things are happening, and they can control your brain like these companies. AI is there. So that's why UNESCO, they have given these new guidelines. UNESCO, it is a specialized organ of UN, or specialized agency of UN, created in 1945. Headquarters is in Paris, France. Now I have told you this particular thing. So Vikas, Harshini, Iltush, they have given the answer. So we are discussing about UNESCO, and we are saying that UNESCO is a specialized agency of UN, and in UN there are permanent organs. How many permanent organs are there in UN, guys? And check on these fast. These questions are important. So how many permanent organs are there of UN? This UNESCO is not the permanent organ. This is a specialized agency, and anything first is very important. And that's why we are reading about this particular thing, because UNESCO, this is the world's first global normatic framework on neurotechnology, how our data on brain will be assessed, whether I have this particular power or not, that I don't want to be subjected under any such thing. Like, I don't want to go under lie detector test, this and that. So there has to be a balance between innovation and human rights, and how far neurotechnology has gone ahead, what it can do with our brain, and what are the political, economic, social repercussions of it. So UNESCO is giving this particular global framework. So Mad King and Vikas, they have given the answer. Six permanent organs are there, guys. Six permanent organs. You have General Assembly, you have United Nations Security Council, you have International Court of Justice, you have UN ECOSOC, Economic and Social Council, you have Secretariat. So you have these organs, and if I missed any, do tell me. So UNESCO, if it is a specialized agency, it has to be a part of one of these permanent organs. Now your question is, UNESCO is a specialized agency, six parallelly, now five. Why five? Because Trusteeship Council don't work. But you will say it's six. Trusteeship Council doesn't work. That does not mean you will remove them, you will remove it. You can say six, but out of that six, trusteeship council does not work. So UNESCO is a any specialized agency, guys. It has to be a part of one of these permanent organ. So UNESCO is a specialized agency of which permanent organ? It is very important. Do tell me. So again, what are the misuse of this particular neurotechnology? Using brain signals to influence behavior or persuasive messaging. So they can influence your behavior. If they have your brain data, they can also use it in ways they want to use it. Political marketing, they can assess whether you are Republican or Democratic, rightist or leftist, all these things, and accordingly they will send you ads, they will send you information. Insurance companies detecting premiums. how much your brain is working, how much efficient it is, how much life you have. All these things can also be detected to a certain extent, thereby determining how insurance companies will, how much premium they will ask for from you. If you they feel like your brain is dead, they will ask for more premium or whatever. They can say that you cannot be a part of this particular policy. Employers demanding brain data tests to screen applicants, how intelligent they are, IQ level, etc. So neurotechnology has advanced to a point where such profiling is becoming possible. In a way, they can know what is going inside your brain. That is, in a way, violation of privacy. And that's why we need these kind of normatic framework, which UNESCO has brought. So UNFCCC, no, it is a part of ECOSOC. This particular UNESCO is a specialized agency of ECOSOC, Economic and Social Council. Many of these organizations, which you will see, which is a specialized agency, many of them are part of ECOSOC, Economic and Social Council. So whenever you're reading about any particular organization, let's say UNESCO, you're reading here, you have to think, if they say it is a specialized agency, you do check that out. Which permanent organ? More often than not, it is ECOSOC, but still do check that out. It is a specialized agency of which permanent organ of UN. Cool. So what is neurotechnology? Devices procedure that access, assess, or act on the brain. Applications include tumor detection, stroke prediction. That is actually good. Tumor detection and brain stroke prevention. But they can also be misused. There are different terms here: mental privacy, mental integrity, cognitive liberty. You have to understand the difference between them. In mains, they can ask you differentiate between mental privacy, mental integrity, and cognitive liberty. Mental privacy means, in my brain certain neurons are working. I'm thinking about someone. Maybe you have cerebrum, cerebellum, medulla oblongata, and whatnot. So maybe mental privacy will be revealed. So I have a right to privacy when it comes to my brain and how it's working. Mental integrity. Mental integrity means they should not be changing my neurons. If they are looking at my neurons, maybe they have capability to change my neurons. So I have a right to mental integrity. Cognitive liberty. Cognitive liberty means they should not change how I feel about things. Let's say Rishi, we talked about Rishi that day, and he had certain feelings about certain communities. So that is his cognitive liberty. He can think that way. Whether it is right or wrong, we are nobody to judge. So that is cognitive liberty. What we are thinking, what are our alignments. And again, these things, these neuro activities should not change that. So all these things, these are very tricky words. Good morning, Nidhi. These are tricky words: mental privacy, mental integrity, cognitive liberty. And you have to understand the basic difference between them. Mental privacy, what are my thoughts? I have a right, or I have a right to privacy in that regard. Mental integrity, they should not change, they should not use certain stuff which changes the way my mental system works. Cognitive liberty means I can be left aligned, I can be right aligned, I can be Republican, I can be Democrat. I have a liberty to do that, and these things should not change that. So UNESCO, there are different studies which are going on, and again, there are terms. This whole thing, neurotechnology we are talking about, it can improve your mental health. So all these things are fine, but at the same time, we also have to ensure that mental privacy, integrity, and cognitive liberty, they are intact. Again, a delicate balance. Then there is a term here: palliative care. We have to understand these terms. ECOSOC, sir. Very good, Iltush. So what is palliative care? Palliative care means, let's say you're suffering from cancer. Let's say you're suffering from some terminal disease. So you will die, stage 4, this and that. So in that scenario, we have to focus on how we can reduce that you're suffering from minimum pain. So that is palliative care. And again, this neurotechnology will help us in ensuring better palliative care. Cool. So Chile amended its constitution to include mental integrity. As you can understand, these lie detector tests, and I'm just using a simple example. There are so many other examples of how they're using our brains and how neurotechnology is working. It can be misused. They can change our data. They can change the way we function. So that's why Chile amended its constitution to include mental integrity. California passed a law protecting brain data. Again, an important piece of information, because AI is developing so much, because big data is developing so much, because we are going through fourth industrial revolution. So we don't even know how these brain neurals can be assessed by these entities. So UNESCO, that's why they have brought this ethical framework. Do remember, as I've told you earlier, they can ask you which particular global organization is the first to bring global normatic framework on neurotechnology ethics. You have to remember UNESCO. Rest all jibber jabber scientific facts, this and that does not matter too much. So they have defined neurotechnology, special protection for vulnerable groups, children, elderly, how their data has to be protected. Political manipulation, don't make me a Democrat out of a Republican. Medical exploitation, again, insurance companies, they can take advantage of your brain data. Commercial persuasion, based on what your brain is thinking, I want to buy something, you will start seeing ads, Amazon ads, and this and that ads. That anyway happens, that can happen more when they have more access to our brain data. So again, responsible research and innovation, and here UNESCO is talking about how these information has to be shared. When neurotechnology is working, you are generating certain data, intellectual property rights. Try to share it with public. That goes against how private companies work. Call for open science. UNESCO is talking about sharing data. Let's say you are reading Hitler's brain, again a hypothetical scenario, reading my brain or Rishi's brain, how that brain is working, why that brain is so radicalized, whatever. So then you share those data, why people are so radicalized, who is responsible for it, rather than keeping data for yourself. So this conflicts with the traditional intellectual property rights which rely on private control. All these things are being done for our own benefit, and UNESCO is doing a commendable effort in that regard. So again, that is what is being written here. Good morning, GYN. So don't, like, we don't have to do PhD here. You will understand when we're solving questions what are the things which are important. You remember what is neurotechnology, what it focuses on, what is UNESCO. Let's solve some questions. MCQ1, used means do option elimination, guys. Why that? Try to solve this particular question. So they have given you 3 statements related to UNESCO. Consider the following statement about UNESCO, specialized agency of UN that operates under UNSC, established in 45 with its headquarters in Paris, responsible for designating World Heritage Sites. So which of the statement is or are correct? Iltush, Vikas, Rishi, Harshini, they have given the answer. It does not operate under UNSC. It operates under ECOSOC. More often than not, these specialized agencies, they work under ECOSOC, Economic and Social Council. So first is wrong. If first is wrong, you can eliminate option A, C, and D, and you will get the answer B, as stated by Iltush, Harshini, and Vikas. Cool. So B is the answer. First is wrong. It's not under United Nations Security Council. MCQ2. Which of the following best describes cognitive liberty? So again, choose the best option. We have talked about certain terms which sounds the same, and there we have also talked about we have a right to cognitive liberty. Even though neurotechnology is going on, how much they can access our brain data. Based on that, what do you understand when you're talking about? Cool. What do you understand when you're talking about cognitive liberty? Iltush, Harshini, Vikas, Mad King, Rishi, all of you have given the answer. What is cognitive liberty? Vikas has given the answer. What is cognitive liberty? Iltush has given the answer. Vikas, Iltush, Harshini, Mad King, they have given the answer. So the right to control one's own mental process and to refuse forced neurotechnology, that is cognitive liberty, as we have discussed here. So pay attention to those keywords which we have discussed. Cool, cool. So Vikas, Iltush, Harshini, Mad King, Jiva, and all of you have given the answer. Next article, which is based on the lower judiciary, P.R. Ramakrishna sir, he is writing about this. And here, again, there are certain keywords which we have to understand. And again, from May's perspective, we know more than 4 crore cases. You can see here, 4.69 crore cases are pending in district courts. And here we will talk about the solution of these scenarios or these cases. And then this particular editorial has taken data from this one, National Judicial Data Grid. So you can see here, this is an online portal which was launched under National E-Governance Plan of Indian government. So National E-Governance Plan launched in 2006. So this is giving you a real-time data. If you see this data, and if I refresh it, I don't think it will be refreshed and the numbers of cases will change, because the courts, the district courts will open at 10:30, around 10:30, and then you will see the number of cases being increased or decreased. So if you see, this is National Judicial Data Grid, District Court of India, and the total number of cases, civil cases and criminal cases. We have discussed the difference between civil cases and criminal cases. Civil cases, divorce, etc. Criminal cases, murder. So civil cases, A versus B. Somebody has to file a case. In criminal cases, you murdered somebody, nobody has to file the case. It is a crime against society. Government will file a case against you if you are the accused. So criminal cases. So if you see, criminal cases are almost more than 3 times the civil cases, and the total number of cases in district courts is around 4.7 crores. This particular article, obviously, they are saying 4.69 crore. Obviously, from yesterday to today, the number of cases have increased. This is actually a huge number. When you're talking about 4.7 crores, This is actually a huge number, guys. So what is the solution? PR Ramakrishna sir is saying there are so many frivolous things which is happening in district courts. Now the judges, they are not that well educated as they were earlier. But the most important thing, which most of us don't know about, what is that thing? And here he is talking about, let's say at 10:30 a.m. the judges start working. Till 10:30 a.m. till past noon, let's say around 1 p.m. they do one very stupid thing with due respect to judiciary here, which waste a lot of time. And that thing is known as routine calling of cases. And this is a very interesting thing, because you people are civil servant. Think of yourself as civil servant. They will ask you, what is the solution of this whole backlog of cases which we are talking about in district courts, 4.69 crore cases? How will you address this? This is the answer. This is the most important answer. This whole clerical work, routine calling of cases. What is routine calling of cases? Let's say we imagine a scenario. Let's say Mad King is there. Mad King become a district judge. So his first work is this routine calling of cases. What will happen in routine calling of cases? He will say that in today's our district court there are 20 cases lined. These are the petitioners. These are the accused. Are you all present? Why we are involving judges for this stupid work? Again, with due respect, why we don't have a separate judicial officer for these kind of things who can do these works, and judges can do their actual work? Regular courts begin again, hope you can understand this routine calling of cases can be done by anybody else as well apart from judges. Then what will happen? There will be more time for judges to dispose of cases. Actual case disposal time will increase. So this is one point which is actually very interesting, which you have to focus on and which you have to talk about. And you have to talk about the keywords: routine calling of cases. It can be done by other people. There can be a separate judicial officer for calling cases and all these things. And this is one very important thing. And then we have to increase the efficiency, increase the quality of these judges. Earlier judges were having 10 years experience as advocates, etc. Now they're lacking experience. So what can be done to improve the quality of subordinate judiciary? You ensure that they are getting trained in high courts and new civil judges. They are observing work culture in high courts, etc., how things are happening. That's how you can improve the quality. Again, guys, these things can be written by anybody and everybody, but this routine calling of cases is actually a very interesting thing which not many people know about. So when you are talking about the solution related to subordinate courts and pendency, do talk about this. This is actually a very important thing. Cool. What else is they are talking about? Then they're talking about archaic laws. Again, people generally know about it. Archaic law means there are certain provisions which I have seen in this divorce case. Like when you are filing for divorce, they will give you that, okay, there is a 6 month cooling period. You have to live for 1 year separately, and then we will think about it. There is a reason, there is a rationale why these things happen in divorce cases. When divorce proceedings are filed, and it's a last resort, I understand, but I have seen scenarios where people start missing their better half during this divorce proceedings, and that's why you have this cooling off period, 6 months cooling off period, 1 year separation, because there have been many cases where people have come back, they have not taken divorce. But these things also slow down the disposal. These things also increase the pendency of cases, as we have just seen in National Judicial Data Grid. You see this, the civil cases, there are many cases, most of the cases, civil cases, will be divorce cases. And why these numbers are increasing? Because of this cooling off period, 1 year separation. And because of this also certain things happen, like false filing. People will say that yes, we have separated, or we have separated for 1 year, and we have done the 6 months cooling off. So these things also happen. So again, if you remove the archaic provisions, pre-suit mediation. So again, there are certain companies, business dispute happen, then also there is a mediation, that before you come to court, arbitration, mediation, conciliation. We have talked about alternative dispute resolution earlier, which is there in your UPSC GS mains paper 2 solution. Again, that also increases the time period. So there are many things, and then there are other acts also where there are certain stupid provisions. Maybe we can do away with that, or maybe we can have some alternatives: 6 months cooling off period, 1 year separation, maybe something else, maybe not 1 year separation or 6 months separation. Maybe not in serious business disputes, maybe this mediation can be done away with, maybe they can directly go to court. So hope you can understand how we can increase the rate of disposal. Justice delayed is justice denied, but then there is another point: justice hurried is justice buried. Now this is important from mains perspective. Why? Because in GS mains paper 2, around topic 6, you have judiciary, and everybody knows more than 4 crore cases pending, but not many people will know how to reduce pendency. And we are talking from district. court's perspective. Reform outdated laws, as we have discussed. Appoint competent, experienced lawyers as judges, more than 10 years of experience if they have, or if they have worked in high courts. Free subordinate judges from clerical workload, as we have discussed. Routine calling of cases that can be done by somebody else apart from judges. Make execution faster and simpler. Improve training and judicial work culture. These are important points. Wherever you have made notes for judiciary, note down these points. You have to write solution. You are not just talk, you don't have to talk just about problems, you have to also suggest solution. So final message, again, you can read all these things, must be allowed to function as true judges. And this is actually the true wastage of time of judiciary, this routine calling of cases from 10:30 a.m. to 1 p.m. by judges. And there can be this is one of the most important point of this particular article. Cool, sir. Chip on there. Let's solve some question. The article argues that mandatory cooling off period in mutual consent divorce may lead to what happens? Approximately 89,000 cases pending in Supreme Court. Yes, Supreme Court and High Court, there are also lots of cases. This article is not mainly about that. This article is about at the lower level what we can do, because cases are much more in number at the lower level. We can talk about it. Many of these solutions which are there, because they can be used for High Courts and Supreme Courts as well. But this article was mainly about what can be done in subordinate courts, what can be done in district courts. Very good. Oh my God, Chipandis. So what is the answer of this question? Iltush Harshini, Iltush Vikas, they have given the answer. The article argues that mandatory cooling of period in mutual consent divorce may lead to delays in false declaration. I can understand why some people have answered improve reconciliation rate significantly, but this article is not arguing that. I told you that happens. That's why this cooling off period is there. You start missing someone, you start missing their touch, missing their talks and all, because when you're away you realize how you're missing someone. So that happens, but this article is not about that. This article is about how it leads to delay and false declaration. More often than not, they do go for divorce is the last resort. If you are missing someone, you can live separately also. That's why this 1 year separation thing is there. But I'm telling you, the answer is lead to delays and false declaration. Hope you can understand. I can also understand why Gajana has given D answer. Gajana, are you understanding why the answer is C? This article is about delays, why delays are happening in subordinate court, and this is one of the reasons. Mandatory cooling off, mediation, archaic laws, and or whatnot. Cool. National e-governance plan was launched in which particular year? I showed you National Judicial Data Grid, and I told you this is a part of National e-governance plan of government. Digitization of court records and all. We have this proper court records. So I have also told you when we were discussing this, when was it launched? When was this National e-governance plans launched? And guys, Chipandis guys, you have to remember this particular e-governance word. Use of, because e-governance is explicitly mentioned in GS means paper 2. What is the basic meaning of e-governance? Use of ICT tools to deliver government services. Which tools? ICT tools. Oh my God. To do what? To deliver government services, or to facilitate government services, or to show transparency in government services. ICT tools, information and communication technology tools. So, and according to second ARC, ethics and governance, I keep on telling you people, second ARC, Administrative Reforms Commission, ethics and governance, what they talk about or what they say about e-governance. E-governance has made it easy, it has reduced corruption to a certain extent. Although in corruption perception index, India tops from bottom, as we generally do in most of the index, because Modi hai to mumkin hai. Again, let's focus. So e-governance, it is actually good. Even you can think about this, it plug leakages. Everything leaves a digital trail rather, a digital trail. Let's say I am paying someone, I'm paying a government agent or earlier what used to happen, I will give you a real life example. Many people earlier, when they used to think about clearing UPSC CSC, they wanted to become IRS. They wanted to go to revenue service, because just below the belt, like again, in hush tones, they used to say that there's so much money in revenue service, this and that. But now, because so much digitization has happened, which is again one aspect of e-governance, because of digitization, the corruption has reduced. Corruption is still there in India. As second ARC says, corruption is a norm rather than an exception in our country. But it has reduced, and e-governance has a bigger role, because now if you are paying and you're paying via UPI and this and that, so there's a very less scope for corruption for IRS and any other people. And cash, that's why people sometimes want cash. Again, I hope you're understanding where we are going with this. So national e-governance plan, who answered it? Mad King Vikas Ji YNC 2006. Very good. Very, very, very good. Like, share, and subscribe, guys. Spread the words. We'll talk about these things later on. Now, next article, page number 10, GS1, GS2. Very good article, man. It will give you a comprehensive overview of all Vishakha judgment you may have heard about. So, GS1 society and GS2, schemes for vulnerable section, anti-rape law. Please understand this article from different perspective. This is a comprehensive article on all anti-rape laws in India. What is the basic meaning? So, how this whole thing started? This started from a Mathura rape case of 1979. Tukaram versus State of Maharashtra. And now, see, understand one thing. Supreme Court, they have one power. They can review their judgments. This is not judicial review. Judicial review is, you know, reviewing the constitutionality of laws and executive orders. But this is another feature of Supreme Court, reviewing its own judgment. So now Supreme Court is saying sorry. Supreme Court has heard the song of Justin Bieber. Is it too late to say sorry? So Supreme Court is saying sorry on what they did in the Mathura rape case. 1979 Supreme Court judgment as institutional embarrassment. They are actually saying sorry. This is your homework. Listen to that Justin Bieber song. What happened in this Mathura rape case which led to 1990s Vishaka guidelines among other things? So let's try to understand. It reflected a regressive patriarchal understanding of consent. So everything around anti-rape laws revolve around the meaning of consent. So what happened in Mathura rape case? You have to understand the chronology. You will understand everything. Supreme Court acquitted two policemen accused of custodial rape of 14 to 16-year-old tribal girl Mathura because according to Supreme Court there were no injury marks. This girl was habituated to sex, and because there were no injury marks, she was habituated to sex, so they could do this, and they are not guilty of rape and all these things. So they Supreme Court said it in 1979. Yes, I'm not kidding, this is actually what happened, and that's why the current CJI is saying sorry for their 1979 judgment, and they have given such judgment earlier with due respect to Supreme Court. So case timeline 1972 Mathura. Why we have to read this case timeline? So that we develop some sensitivity whatever is to come. Right now there is a thing which has started happening, guys. Whenever there is a Muslim accused, I will tell you, whenever there's a Muslim accused, be it this Delhi blast, then all these Godi media, they will start naming them. But there was something which happened in this anti-rape law we'll read about, Kathua rape case. In Kathua rape case, there was a Muslim girl in Kashmir. She was raped by some Pandits. I'm a Brahmin, guys. I'm a Hindu. I'm telling you what has happened. So then, whenever these things happen, when there are Hindu accused, they will stop saying, they will not name them. They will not try to show their religion. They will just say some accused happened, this happened. This is so sad, and that's why we have to understand these cases. So case timeline 1972, you can see here, Mathura, an orphan, taken to police station, raped inside the police station. Trial court, they called her a liar, said intercourse happened, but rape not proven. So it was all consensual inside the police station. Custodial rape concept also came after this Mathura case. 1976 Bombay High Court said that no, this is wrong, it is rape. So-called consent was passive submission under authority. You put someone behind bars. Obviously if you rape them and coerce them, I hope you can understand. So 1979 Supreme Court, they set aside High Court verdict. They said that no, intercourse seemed peaceful because there were no violence mark, and she was a habitual, God knows what. So the later, again, then there were some people who wrote an open letter to Supreme Court that there's a difference between submission and consent. This is an example of submission. She could not do anything. She is a minor child. She's under custody. Court ignored illegal detention, power imbalance, poverty, fear, and lack of legal knowledge. And this later led to the changes which happened in our society. And the sad thing is, when such kind of things happen, Kathua rape case, Unnao rape case, Nirbhaya, then these changes happen. Legal reforms triggered by Mathura case. Criminal Law Amendment Act 1983 happened. Custodial rape concept was introduced as a separate offense after this Mathura incident happened. Burden of shift proven means shifted to accused. Police officers, they are guilty. You prove why you're not guilty. Why you brought her under custody in night and separate custody. Vishaka guidelines happened, which is about workplace sexual harassment, prompted by Banwari Devi rape case. Again, pardon me for the pronunciation part. So all these things were triggered by this particular Mathura. Now, understand this thing. Vishaka guidelines is Prevention of Sexual Harassment at Workplace Act, which is also known as POSH Act. The current POSH Act has, it goes back to Vishaka guidelines, which goes back to Mathura case. Cool. Now here, please remember one thing important from pre-perspective. This article is mainly important from mains perspective. From pre-perspective, they can ask you which particular law introduced custodial rape as a separate offense. So remember Criminal Law Amendment Act 1983. There were different amendments done to this criminal law. So this is an amendment of 1983, which introduced the concept of custodial rape 4 years after the Mathura case. And then reforms after 2020, 2012 Nirbhaya case, brutal Delhi gang rape. Then again, broadened the definition of rape beyond intercourse. Again, you can see all these things: raised age of consent, punished people who refuse to file FIRs. And then Unnao and Kathua case, as we have just discussed, introduced death penalty for rape of children under 12. And be very wary of these Godi media guys. They're very, very toxic. So latest reform under Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita. So again, they have also introduced something. What they have introduced? New offenses such as sexual intercourse under false pretense. Again, guys, I will marry you. I don't say these stupid things, you know. So you can be booked under Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita, sexual intercourse under false pretense, expanded the definition of sexual harassment. So there are certain keywords which you have to keep in mind. What is Vishaka guideline? When was it passed? You know, Criminal Law Amendment Act 1983, why it is known, what it introduced, custodial rape. All these things are very, very, very important. Now, if you see this particular mains question, and this is also a case study for GS4, but they will not go that in like very less chance for case study, but GS1, GS2. Consent lies at the heart of sexual offense laws. Analyze how judicial interpretation of consent has evolved in India since the Mathura rape case. So again, we have seen what was the scenario, what happened in the Mathura case. There it was like there are no violence ma, so it was mutual. So the definition of consent has varied or has evolved. That is the right word here. So what happened? You can see the introduction. So the pre-reform position before Mathura case, consent is absence of resistance. If the girl is not resisting, and again you will see this has become gender neutral also. It's not only about girl, it's also about boys, ataras. So this whole anti-rape law has started becoming gender neutral. We have discussed about this gender neutrality yesterday also when we were talking about POXO, Protection of Children from Sexual Offences Act of 2012. So again, pre-reform, consent, absence of resistance before Mathura rape case. No resistance implied consent. And now 1983 amendment happened. Custodial rape was introduced, coercive. You know, it's not about consent, etc. If you are raping her in custody, it is custodial rape covered under Criminal Law Amendment Act 1983. Vishaka judgment, workplace harassment. I am not saying these laws are not misused, blah, blah, blah. That is a different matter altogether, but you need some protection. As we were discussing marital rape concept, and I think Harshini said that no, it can be misused. Anything can be misused, but it doesn't mean that you should not be having those provisions. These provisions can also be misused. Expanded definition of rape after Nirbhaya case. We have talked about digital object and oral penetration yesterday when we were talking about POXO. And these words are important, guys. You may feel like, oh my God, I'm very shy. No, you have to know what is digital penetration, what is object penetration, what is oral penetration. We have discussed it yesterday in our POSCO definition, POXO. So clearly stated silence or you can read all these. So the modern interpretation is what? Consent is a mental state. Submission is not consent. You have custodial rape provisions now, and false pretext and consent under false pretext under Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita, that is also a crime. So all these things you have to be very wary of. So again, law is very much. Hope you can understand. Be very wary, guys, and be very wary. So BNS 2023 continued clarity on consent, gender neutral provision. It's not like only girl. Yesterday also we have discussed in the POXO scenario, male accused, female victims, that is the general norm. But here also anti-rape laws are gender neutral. There can be a female accused, there can be a male, you know, victim, like it happened in Aitaraz with Akshay Kumar. So again, you can read all these things from the flawed reasoning in Mathura case to the detailed statutory definition in 2013 and BNS. India's understanding of consent has evolved dramatically, but how far will it be implemented? That is a different matter altogether. That is what we have to discuss here. Cool. So in this question or this topic, what objective question should I frame, guys? So let's focus on the second article, next article of the day. Page number 8, editorial again. Oh my God, 3 editorials we are covering. I don't know how many we are covering. Oh my God. So again, these all editorials or articles are heavy today. India needs to connect, build and revive with Africa. This article has been written by Syed Akbaruddin sir. Now Syed Akbaruddin sir, as you can see here, see his credential, former Indian permanent representative to UN, currently dean. So he's I think an IFS officer, and he's talking about India Africa, how things are not going the way it was going earlier. So in 2008, there was an India Africa Summit, India Africa Forum Summit, which was introduced. UPSC has already asked a PYQ on this India Africa Forum Summit. We'll see that particular PYQ. So this thing was going on. Then 2008 Delhi, then in 2011 it happened in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. 2015 again Delhi. After this 2015 Delhi India Africa Forum Summit, there has been in this 2015 India Africa Forum Summit, almost all 54 nations of Africa, they were called. And again, here there is a question which was asked in different state PSCs, not UPSC. Which particular continent has maximum number of countries? So if I ask you certain basic questions, guys, which is the largest continent? What is the answer? Which continent is the largest continent? And the second question is, which continent has maximum countries? You may feel like it's so easy. Continent having maximum countries have been asked in multiple you means state PSC exams. UPSC has not reached to this level, but you never know. So what is the answer, guys? Which is the largest continent? Which continent has maximum countries? So Asia is what? Asia is the largest country, or like means largest continent, or it is having maximum number of countries? What is the answer? Asia largest. Wow. So Maddie King, Jiva and Harshini have given the answer, which is the largest continent. And which continent have, so largest continent, Asia. Continent having maximum countries, Africa. You remember it? It has been asked in so many exams. So it has 50 plus countries. In 2015 India Africa Forum Summit, all these countries were invited. And see, even though Modi sir is here, Modi hai to mumkin hai. I was watching a reel yesterday. Everything which is happening, unemployment is at an all-time high. Why? Because Modi sir does not want people to come out of villages in city areas, go to pub, bar, etc. Because they don't act if they have money, they will go to pub, bar. So that's why Modi sir wants everyone to live in villages, go back to villages. This is what that reel was saying. And that's why we have unemployment. So whatever Modi sir is doing and thinking, why we have AQI, air quality index, is at an all-time high, and why nobody is doing anything about it? Because again, that reel was saying that because we have AQI, WHO will give us money to take care of this. If this money would not have come to India, it would have gone to Pakistan. So this is again a master stroke by Modi sir to have such high AQI. My God, why am I telling you this? Let's focus, guys. So everything is a master stroke. Unemployment, AQI, everything. So here also there is a master stroke. After 2015 India Africa Summit, there has been no summit from last 10 years. China is filling our spot. China is filling the spot left vacant by India, and that's why Shahid Akbaruddin sir is little worried. Why we are not having Forum Summit? We should have it. That was a great way of leveraging India Africa ties, and we have to leverage it, because if we don't, other countries will fill the gap as China is already doing it. So that's why Africa maximum countries. Very good, Iltush and GYN. So background, IFS 3 and the decade since the last India Africa Forum Summit happened in 2015 in New Delhi. I've told you. 2008 also New Delhi, and 2011 Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. Addis Ababa. So remember this. Over the past 10 years, India has expanded its diplomatic presence, opening 17 new missions. All these things are happening. India-Africa trade has crossed $100 billion. But if this forum summit continues or starts again, this will be a good sign for India-Africa relationship. That's what Syed Akbaruddin sir is saying. By 2015, why this is important? Because Africa is here to stay. Africa will host 1/4 of world's population by 2050. So as when you think about different countries, they will keep on talking about India's market. We have to leverage India's market, but they don't want our human resource to go to their country. I will tell you a reality, which is actually like in India. I am from Bihar. How we Indians perceive people of Bihar, same way India is perceived by countries of this world. 190 plus countries, they perceive us. And we have to change that thing, and you people will work to change that. And this is the harsh reality. Doesn't matter what Godi media says. So we talk about, or different countries talk about leveraging India's market, but they don't want our human resource. Africa can be that market for us. If you think that way, Africa has 1/4 of world's last. Like you can see these data here. India will be world's third largest economy. We can leverage their market. Our companies can go there. They're already going there, but yes, we can still tap their untapped market. If we don't do it, China is already doing it. So there is a major potential for demography, technology, economic growth. We talk about UPI, unified payment interface. Modi sir goes here, there, everywhere, and UPI is implemented by these countries. We can expand in digital fora. India Africa collaboration can increase, and it should increase. That's what this article is talking about. Cool. India investment in evolving engagement model. India is among Africa's top 5 investor. Not done. We should be in the top 2, top 3 with $75 billion in cumulative investment. So again, we are doing good. We are doing in like a lot of work in infrastructure. Our SBI is there, LIC, and so many different companies are there. Vaccine production. This led to something called as TRIPS. This led to this vaccine production thing, led to tussle between India and US, India and Japan. Why this whole vaccine production thing and India transferring vaccine to African countries leads to tussle between US and Japan? Because these countries, they have very strict IPR rights, intellectual property rights. So IPR rights means what? These Novartis companies or these companies like they are pharmaceutical companies, US and Japanese, they produce a lot of drugs, they invent a lot of drugs, and we via generic medicine concept what we do, we produce a cheaper version of it, cheaper variant of it, and then supply it to Africa. So in a way, the country which should be tapped, like yeah, US and Japan, they are investing a lot in technology, but India is taking maximum advantage out of it because of this generic medicine concept, which is allowed under WTO TRIPS agreement, trade-related aspects of intellectual property rights. So again, this vaccine production has been a big issue for us. It has increased India's soft power, so to say, in Africa. But it has also increased issue of India with US and Japan. And then the one very important thing which is happening between India and Africa is many African people, students, they're coming to India. They're studying. You may have seen them in Delhi. You may have seen them in southern India. And then our medical facility, they're also very cheap in southern India, and they're also very efficient. So all these things are also promoting India-Africa cooperation. That's what this article is talking about. Plus this whole first Africa-India key maritime engagement has happened. Anything first is important, guys, and this has happened in 2025. So again, keep it in mind. But ideally, Akbaruddin sir is saying this Africa Forum Summit should be revived. IIT Madras Zanzibar campus, again, education is a key area of cooperation. We have discussed this, but then so is racism. There is some amount of racism these people have faced in India. You may have seen in Delhi Metro and all. Kiki kiki, there is a black guy. Don't do kiki kiki. This is a racism. You're not understanding it. Like I'm telling you the current example of racism. There's an South African captain. His name is Temba Babuma. Jasprit Bumrah pulled a ball to him or something, and then he called him Bona. You may have heard that particular thing. Bona means a short-statured person. Again, this is stereotyping, guys. This is one form of racism, explicit or implicit. I don't know. So these things should not be done. India's role in global representation. You can see all these things. We are like we have always been advocate. You can see here. We want more and more African representation in UN and so many other organizations. We are sending most of these wars of small scale or large scale in or different kind of humanitarian crises are going on in African countries. India has one of the largest presence in UN peacekeeping missions. So we are doing a lot of thing in Africa. Still, there is a lot of scope to, develop or strengthen our relationship. Like trade is growing, but still behind China. We should not be behind anyone. Indian companies, now there is one problem. We know when you talk about Sudan, when you talk about, Mongolia, I'm saying, when you talk about uh, different countries, like many of these countries are very unstable. So private companies, even if they grow, Indian private companies, even if they go to Africa, they feel like there is a risk involved. So that's why there's one interesting thing which this article is talking about, which we should know. And this is, I will just show you. Public finance should de-risk private investment, and this we have to understand. What is the basic meaning of this particular line? If somebody asks you, public finance should de-risk private investment, and this has to be done when we are talking about India-Africa relationship. What does it mean? Public finance should de-risk private investment. So our government, our Indian government, they should say to private companies of ours that you go to Africa, you invest there. If you lose some money, we will give you money. Don't worry, your money will come back. You will recoup your investment. So this is de-risking. This is how public finance de-risk private investment, and this will incentivize more companies to come to Africa. And that is one of the challenges. We are lagging behind China. One challenge. The second challenge is small balance sheet and bureaucracy, plus the turmoil which is there in many African countries. It disincentivizes Indian private companies to go there, and we can do something. Indian government can do something. They can de-risk this whole thing. So again, there is a potential in renewable energy sector, digital infrastructure. Our UPI is anyway favors, and education sector, this is the whole cooperation is booming. So hope you can understand what this article is talking about. What are the things they are focusing on? 40,000 Africans they have studied in India. So how we can improve India-Africa relationship from main perspective? Link finance to visible outcomes, as we have discussed. If private investors they don't want to go there, public finance can de-risk them. And how we have just discussed. Create an India-Africa digital corridor. Our UPI should be there in Africa as well, in different platforms. Revive India-Africa Forum Summit. Three summit has happened. Third summit happened in 2015. After that, there has been no summit. So these things should be focused upon. You have to revise this article. You will understand India-Africa relationship, GS means paper to international relation. You can include those points there. Let's solve some question, guys. PYQ 5 asked by UPSC in 2016. Consider the following statement with regards to India-Africa Summit. So, how many of these statements is or are correct? India-Africa Summit held in 2015 was third such summit, was actually initiated by Jawaharlal Nehru in 1951. Harshini has given the answer for fifth question. So India Africa Summit, we have discussed 2008 first summit. So why will Jawaharlal Nehru sir? Not everything which is happening or not happening in India is because of Nehru ji. It's like if good things happen, Modi sir is the one. Bad things happen, Nehru ji is the one who is to be blamed. Hypocrisy की भी सीमा होती है. That means there is a limit to hypocrisy. So first African Summit 2008, second one 2011, and third one 2015. So third summit happened in 2015. First and third happened in Delhi. Remember this. If UPSC has asked once, they can ask twice, as we have discussed with right to privacy question, or there was a question right to privacy, Article 21, asked in 20 UPSC 2021, 2024. So 2011 happened in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. So everything and anything related to this summit is important. So second is wrong. Nehru sir is not responsible for this. AA1 only is the answer, as stated by Harshini. Madhubala. Jiva and C is not the answer. A is the answer. Means first summit happened in 2008. Jawaharlal Nehru sir, how will he initiate it in 1951? We are saying the genesis in 2000s. So A is the answer. P MCQ 6. Public finance de-risking private investment refers to what? Cool. What is the meaning of this whole term? Public finance de-risking private investment. Eliminating all risk faced by private companies using public subsidies, using public funds to reduce investment risk. Again, choose the best option, guys. You may feel like all options are awesome. We have discussed how we can incentivize investment in Africa. We cannot be too far behind China. We are far behind China, but what we can do. And in that regard, this particular statement was awesome. Public finance, de-risking private investment, which we have understood what is the basic meaning of this particular term. So Harshini, Iltush, Jivayan, Mad King, Madhubala, they have given the answer. Using public funds to reduce investment risk so that private investors can participate more confidently. Very good. Very, very, very good. Next article, page number 11, GS1 Modern History. Batukeshwar Dutt. So this, and today is his birth, today was his birthday, November 18, 1910. So people tell me who is born on today, November 18, what is his zodiac sign, November 18? So he was born on this particular day. This article is saying that he was also there with Bhagat Singh when they, went to assembly and they just shouted slogans, distributed pamphlets. But we talk about Bhagat Singh. We love Bhagat Singh. We make movies on Bhagat Singh. But somewhere down the line, we have forgotten Batukeshwar Dutt. That should not happen. That's what this article is talking about. And because there is a big article written on him, you need to know certain facts related to him. So he was there and he did not die. He was there in post-independent India also. What happened to him? And he is buried, or he's cremated. That is the right word. Where is he cremated? He's cremated along with Bhagat Singh. And where is that cremation center? And how it is associated with 1965 India Pakistan. 1965 again. Yeah, 1965 India Pakistan war. That is also important. So Bhagat Singh versus Batukeshwar Dutt in public memory. Bhagat Singh, iconic national hero. Batukeshwar Dutt, everybody has forgotten about him. Why? The answer question is why we have done that. We should not do that. We remember Veer Savarkar sir, who was very Veer, even though he asked for forgiveness from Britishers on multiple occasions. But yes, he is a Veer, and that's what this article is also talking about. You talk about Veer Savarkar, you've forgotten Batukeshwar Dutt. Don't do that. He was convicted in Delhi Assembly bomb case and imprisonment. Now, there can be a question to you that why he was not given death sentence when Bhagat Singh, Sukhdev, and Rajguru they were executed. That sir, Batukeshwar Dutt was in Tamil Nadu, Salim jail. Why he was not given death sentence? Because Bhagat Singh's Rajguru and Sukhdev, they were not only convicted in Delhi Assembly case. Bhagat Singh was also, and these people they were also involved in the killing of a guy who was responsible for the death of Lala Lajpat Roy when this whole thing was going on. What thing was going on? Protest against Simon Commission. So there were multiple charges on Bhagat Singh, Rajguru, and Sukhdev, and that's why they were executed. Means, oh my God, that's why they were put to death sentence. Whereas Batukeshwar Dutt sir was in Salim jail, and he was in different jails. He will be released in late 1930s. And again, we will talk about him. You have to understand and you have to keep him in mind. So released in 1938. Blah, blah, blah. Just give me a second, guys. But arrested during Quit India movement. Life after independence. Married Anjali, settled in Patna. All these things happened, and again suffered from bone cancer. Died a painless death in 1965. So this is Batukeshwar Dutt for you, and he had his wish that, like you see and you read about Bhagat Singh deaths and execution in 1931. You read about Karachi session 1931. Presided, who presided 1931 Karachi session, guys? And then there was so much anger against Congress, so much anger against Gandhiji, that why you did not save these guys. So all these things were happening in 1931, and they were executed. Like Britishers, they did not even reveal the actual date of execution of Bhagat Singh, Rajguru, and Sukhdev, but their remains were taken away, and they were given to the villagers of their family. And what is that village known as? And he was cremated. These people were cremated. Where they were cremated, there's a place, Husainwala or Husainiwala, where he was cremated, Batukeshwar Dutt, along with Bhagat Singh, Rajguru, and Sukhdev. Where is this Husainiwala? There's a different story here. There's an interesting story to Husainiwala also. From 1947 till 1965, Husainiwala was under Pakistani occupation. But after 1965 India-Pakistan war, Husainiwala was or became a part of India, so to say, in formal sense. So Husainiwala on India-Pakistan border. Do remember it. They can ask you what is the cremation center, but I don't think they will go to that extent. But we should keep these things in mind, especially important from modern history perspective. So he was cremated at Husainiwala beside Bhagat Singh, Rajguru, and Sukhdev. And Husainiwala is at the border of India-Pakistan. Site had only recently come under Indian control in 1965. Temporary national recognition has happened. No portraits of Bhagat Singh or Dutt are displayed in Parliament, but we have Savarkar sir portrait. We know there is nothing against Savarkar sir. He is weak. There is nothing against Rashtriya Swayam Sevak Sangh or all these people, although they were banned by Vallabhbhai Patel, whom they worship on National Unity Day. Nothing against them. They're awesome people. But the article is saying that we should remember Batukeshwar Dutt Bhagat Singh if you're remembering Veer Savarkar. So MPs protested this omission without any success. So again, you can see all these things and the certain facts which are written. This article is saying that we should remember Batukeshwar Dutt. He is equal to Veer Savarkar, if not more important than him, and he should be read in the same regards as we are reading Bhagat Singh. Even if you should read something about him, that is what this article is saying, and we should not be. He should not remain mostly absent from test book. This is not done. Cool, sir. Let's solve some questions, guys. MCQ 7. But Tukeshwar Dutt undertook multiple hunger strike in prisons, mainly demanding what? Again, use your common sense. He was in different jails. He took hunger strike. Why people during that time when these, extremist, revolutionary extremists, many people say revolutionary terrorists, never use that word. These are revolutionary extremists. So why they used to take these hunger strike? What is the major reason? Take a guess, guys. Abolition of solitary confinement, political prisoner status, and humane treatment. What can be the reason? We have not discussed this. I'm just telling you to take a guess. Why they could be taking these hunger strike? What could be the best option? They want to meet family members. They have left everything. Right to legal counsel, abolition of solitary confinement, political prisoner status, and humane treatment. What could be the answer? Iltush, Harshini, Madiking, Jivain, they have given the answer. I will give you an example of solitary confinement. You may have read about Aurobindo Ghosh, sir. He was a Lal Bal Pal, Lala Lajpat Rai, Bal Gangadhar Tilak, Bipin Chandra Pal. Where is Aurobindo Ghosh? Aurobindo Ghosh is not there in Lal Bal Pal, but he was one of the major extremists. So extremist leader, Congress extremist, not a revolutionary extremist. But then he was sent to jail, solitary confinement. Many people say he became almost mad, and then he took to this whole religious devotion and all, Puducherry and all. I'm not saying he became mad. I'm just saying there are two aspects of Aurobindo Ghos's life, and solitary confinement is one part of the first aspect, which led him to the second aspect of religious discourse. Can talk about it some other time. my Oh my god. So the answer is, what is the answer? Answer is B. Husainiwala, often mentioned in the context of India's freedom struggle, is known for what? Why we know Husainiwala? Being the location of Lahore conspiracy trial, hosting, and again, places in news, people in news. UPSC asked questions on people in news. So now Bhatukeshwar, that is important for you because he is people in news. So Mad King Harshni, they have given the answer. So think about it, guys. We will discuss it tomorrow. Tomorrow, Chepandis, we will do it. Like, share, and subscribe. Spread the word. I will share this PDF in this Telegram channel. You can join it, and you can post your score. You can join these individual courses. You can have a look at it. If you have any queries, you can send me a WhatsApp message, and you can join the lifetime success bundle also. Prices of these courses as well as success bundle will increase from 1st December. You are your own competition. You should not be competing with anybody else. You can also donate if you feel like I'm adding to your knowledge base. I cannot do anything without your support. So your support will be needed at each and every step. Cool, sir. So that's it from me, and I will see you people tomorrow at 8 a.m. guys. Fine. Thank you, Harshini. Thank you, everyone else.